Hello, and welcome to Movies I've Seen. I'm Jackie Falco, and this is my podcast. Did you know there's now 8 Resident Evil movies? There's a new Resident Evil movie, and I saw it. That's what this episode is about. I'll do the housekeeping notes now, since it's a shorter episode. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to it. If you want to get in contact with me, my email is in the show notes. And if you have any requests, you can send them to me. Here's the discussion about Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. So we just went and saw Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, which is a reboot of the Resident Evil franchise. And it was disappointing. I was not as let down as Sam was because I don't really play a lot of video games, but I watch people play video games. And I know all the characters' names, sort of. And I watched all 7 of the other shitty movies 2 years ago.
For science and for laughter, not because we wanted to watch those.
I don't remember why I did it, but I'm sorry that I did. Whatever I was trying to get was not...
Wasn't worth it.
It was an abysmal waste of approximately 12 hours of my life. So, about Welcome to Raccoon City. Yeah. Let's stay on topic. This movie was bad. It was very cheap, and it looked really cheap. The script was bad. The dialogue was flat. There were hardly any action scenes. There weren't very many zombies. I'm not a big complainer about special effects. I don't think the digital effects looked particularly good. If everything else in the movie is good, I can overlook it. Yeah. It was just another thing that was like, well, I guess that wasn't worth spending money on.
Because you're like, the movie starts and the dialogue's bad and you're like, oh, this isn't very good, but maybe we'll get some cool monster effects or some good action sequences or something.
No.
To make it entertaining to watch.
No, you will not.
No. Either that or a movie starts off with bad action and you're like, oh, well, maybe the bad visual effects, and you're like, oh, well, maybe the acting will be good or the characters will draw me in or something like that. No, this movie's the worst of both worlds.
And instead of a plot, it had Chris and Claire are related. Do you know that they're siblings?
Yes, because they have the same last name and are not married. Therefore,
Claire Redfield is the sister of Chris Redfield, who is the brother of Claire Redfield. And if the movie told me that they were related one more time, I was going to throw gummy bears at the screen. Just shut up. I know they're related.
We got it. Thank you.
Okay, so is this a spoiler-free discussion? There's nothing to spoil.
Fuck it. There's nothing to spoil.
Literally nothing happens.
Nothing happens in the movie.
Okay, so let's do the plot of the movie real quick, and then some more specific complaining. The movie starts out with a flashback sequence, with a past tense sequence.
Yeah.
With Chris and Claire, who are related.
Oh, are they brother and sister?
They are brother and sister. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
They're at an orphanage, a really silly-looking orphanage.
Cookieville Minimum Security Orphanarium.
That's it. And they're being haunted by some monster lady. Well, only Claire is.
Just Claire is. Chris doesn't believe it's real.
For some reason.
He hasn't seen her. I'm fine with it. I would have been fine with it if that was how it went down. Because, the monster is a little girl. Claire is a little girl. It wanted to talk to her because, they're similar, I guess. Whatever. It'd been fine.
Right. It's hard to make friends when you're a monster, I guess.
Yeah.
So Claire jolts awake. She was dreaming about her past of being creeped out by some tiny monster weirdo. And she has hitched a ride. Oh, it's 1998. The movie is set in 1998 for inexplicable reasons.
Well, that's when the video game took place.
I know that's when the video game took place. But why? So you could have a Palm Pilot?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So the reason why they set it in 1998 was because the game took place then, and this is their excuse to jump onto the developing bandwagon of people being nostalgic for the 90s now. Because we were doing the 80s for 10 years.
We're done with that.
Now we're doing the 90s.
Yeah, they picked terrible music, no iconic styles, everyone had too much eyebrows. It wasn't hardly very 90s at all. So Claire is on her way into town, and the exposition, instead of dialogue, starts already. And the truck driver's like, you already told me that you're going to see your brother, and I guess you already told me that he's a police officer.
No, she told him, going to see your brother, you said. Grew up in Raccoon City, you said. Raccoon City, that town's a shithole. Did I mention that town's a shithole? That town is a shithole.
Oh, there's also a title card
Yeah.
that said the town was a shithole. And so the driver starts to sexually harass Claire. He hits a woman on the street and with his truck, and then he stops and gets out, and the woman, while they're looking away from the corpse, the woman like gets up and walks away because she's a zombie, because it's a zombie movie. And they're like, oh no, that's bad. I guess she's fine. Let's get back on the truck and get to town.
Well, they can't find her. Claire, like, looks around and tries to see her, and she, like, thinks she might see her in the trees, but, like, I'm not going in those woods.
No. So she gets to town, and she goes to her brother's house, and he won't answer the door.
Yeah.
And so she lets herself in using a knife.
And she catches a glimpse of the neighbors who look weird.
Is Claire picking locks from the game? Is that a thing?
Lock picking is a big thing in the Resident Evil games in general.
Well, I know that there's keys.
Yes, but there is also lock picking. See, in the game, in Resident Evil 2, when you start out, each of the characters gets a specific extra item. Leon gets a lighter, Claire gets a lock.
Oh, okay. They were doing a thing.
Yeah, they were doing a thing. Claire can use the lockpick to pick small locks, like you would get like little disposable keys for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Leon can use the lighter to burn an oil painting to find one of the rubies, and you can like light up these torches to solve puzzles.
Isn't Chris the one who had the lighter in the movie, though?
Yeah, Chris had a lighter. Well, so the thing is, the lighter is an item you can find in any of the games in general.
Oh,
so
okay.
It wasn't like an incorrect thing. It was just...
Okay.
Chris wasn't in Resident Evil 2, the game, so...
I see. Okay, so the plot does not show up ever. So what happens next in the movie is we cut to a diner where...
Oh, the guy's dog licks up the virus-tainted blood from the zombie, and now the dog's infected.
Yes, which turns sad, and the dog eventually bites the truck driver.
Yeah.
But then there's no, like, real consequences from that.
Yes, there is.
I mean,
he turns into a zombie.
I know he turns into a zombie, but it doesn't affect, like, the plot as a whole.
Oh,
it doesn't
no.
move anything forward. It doesn't cause a character to grow or learn in some way.
Do you know what was supposed to happen with the zombified truck driver?
No.
Well, in the video game, the zombified truck driver is established during the opening of the game, while Claire and Leon are both heading into town. They're together in a squad car trying to get to the police station for safety after they see zombies.
Okay.
And then a zombie attacks them in the car, and then they crash the car to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, are you okay? And then the truck driver is barreling down the street towards them. They have to dive out of separate sides of the car. Truck plows into the car, explodes, and now they're split up, and that's the start of the game. So that's what it is. It separates the two main characters, so they have to go different ways to the police station to reunite.
I feel like I've seen that before.
You probably have. I've played this game in front of you many times.
Okay, so that's why the truck driver was in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't very good.
Yeah. I thought they were going to have him crash into the police station and that would, like, block them from leaving.
That would make sense.
But, I don't know. I guess you can make the argument that the exploding truck, like, attracted all the zombies to the police station, but there was only, like, 5 of them.
Right. The consequences were small.
Yeah.
Leon is at a diner and he is asleep, maybe.
No, he was in his hotel room, and then he wakes up, and then suddenly he's at a diner. There's no reason to show him at the hotel room. He's just there, and he wakes up, and then all of a sudden he is at a diner, asleep again, in uniform.
I don't get it.
Right. There's no point.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yep.
But there's other police officers in the diner.
The STARS team, yes.
One of them is Jill Valentine. Another one is Wesker.
Mm-hmm.
He is not a villain yet. Well, I know he's a villain because I have heard about the games and seen 7 other films. But in this, he's played by that nice Giganto from Umbrella Academy.
Luther.
And some other blonde actor.
I keep wanting to say Joseph because that was one of the STARS guys. Oh no, it was Brad.
It was
I
Brad.
think. I think it was Brad. Chicken Heart Vickers.
I don't know. It really isn't important.
No, it really isn't.
Okay, so these guys are at a diner and then they make fun of Leon and then...
They, for no reason, established that Jill is a very good shot.
Yes.
And you think they're setting up for later when she's going to be like the best one at getting headshots. Because they're like getting center mass shots and they're not doing anything and Jill's going to be like, I got it. Bam. Headshot. Dead. So you're like, oh, that's the thing. Nope.
No, it does not come up later at all.
Nope.
2 random street cops show up to the diner and make fun of Leon for being a rookie and his past where he accidentally shot someone.
He shot his partner in the ass on accident, and his influential dad got him transferred to a really shitty position somewhere. If your dad was, like, influential and powerful in the police force in some way, you'd think that, you know, you wouldn't get any kind of punishment whatsoever. But he gets punished by being sent to a really shitty position in a really shitty town.
People in positions of authority have to know that, like, the town is being evacuated.
Yeah. So
he's being sent there to die, so I guess his dad hates him. That's
well, the thing is,
that's what we find out. His dad hates him, and he sent him there to die because he's an embarrassment.
Right, that's all funny and everything, but, like, even really thinking about it seriously, like, Leon's apparently been there for some period of time because, like, everybody knows who he is.
Well, he was...
They're like, hey, it's the rookie. Like, they recognize him by sight, and they know him by name. So he's been there for, what, like a week?
Mm.
None of this is established.
It's not clear, and also it doesn't matter.
No, none of it matters.
Okay, and then what's happening with Claire and her brother Chris. Chris is unhappy to see her, and Claire is unhappy to be seeing him. They tell us that Claire ran away and hasn't talked to Chris in 5 years, and she, like, abandoned him, and he stayed in Raccoon City. And
looks at William Birkin like a father figure.
Yes.
As you know, the golden rule of filmmaking is tell, don't show.
That's what they say.
Yes. And she shows him the tape.
Oh, plot stuff.
Yeah.
Claire shows Chris the tape of their friend Ben, who's like, oh no, he's some guy she met online in a chat room. And Chris is like, what's a chat room? And I'm like, oh, it's 1998.
Yeah.
And Ben is like, I have a conspiracy theory about Umbrella.
No, Ben works there.
Yeah, and he has a conspiracy theory about Umbrella. He doesn't, like, present evidence in the tape. He just says, like, this is what's going on. And he doesn't say, here's where you can go to find the evidence to prove it. He just says, like, this is happening, and it's bad.
Yeah. I'm scared of what they're doing to this town, Claire.
Right. It's not very good.
You could have just had him in the tape be like, Claire, I have evidence, but I'll only give it to you in person because I have to know I can trust you or something. You know, something that a movie would do.
Right.
So that's why she's here in town. And she's coming to get her cop brother to help her track this guy down.
Go get some evidence.
Yeah. Yeah, you come with me to collect this evidence so that you can take it to the people who can do something with it.
This is just us postulating, and this did not happen in the movie. There's no evidence that Claire's directed together. It's just bad there, and she's going to investigate it.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe she's just going to get her brother out?
I don't know, maybe.
She doesn't really say what she's doing there exactly. She's going to see her brother, and the reunion doesn't go great, but she doesn't leave town after she is rebuffed.
No. She waits at his house.
Oh, she gets attacked.
Yeah.
By the sick neighbor.
He leaves and goes to work, and she stays at the house, and then the sirens start going off, and the Umbrella Corporation on the loudspeaker tells everybody to stay indoors, and then zombies from next door come over and attack her. And so she takes his bike and drives away.
Itchy Tasty.
Itchy Tasty attacks, and...
And then back at the police station, everybody has gathered except for Claire, and Donald Logue is in the movie as a really funny police chief.
Yes, because as we all know, people who have played Resident Evil, Chief Irons, he's such a funny rapscallion of a character, isn't he? He's the space cop police chief.
Is that not?
No, that's not at all what Chief Irons is like in the video games.
Oh, okay.
For reference, people who have not played
you just tell
games, I'm telling you, but I'm also telling the audience who hasn't played these games. Chief Irons is like a psychopath, and he is really into taxidermy, and he's also like weirdly obsessed with the mayor's daughter, and there's like a subplot where you find out that Chief Irons is a psychopath who likes to stuff things and wants to
don't. That's enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's not what happened in this movie, thankfully.
They don't show it in the game. It's just you find out.
It's not even implied. It's just a nice police chief who's like, you are all morons. Everyone go do work.
Well, he's not just a nice police chief because he's a jerk, but also he seems to know what's going on and doesn't tell anybody. Because he knows about zombies. He doesn't call them zombies, obviously. He just, like, shoots the one guy that's on fire and he's like, come on, there might be more.
So
he knows something about what's happening. And he packs up immediately and starts to leave.
Oh, he sends everybody up to the mansion. He says, go get Bravo Team.
Yeah, Bravo Team has disappeared, even though Bravo Team was 2 regular uniformed police officers in a Jeep, apparently.
And instead of driving up there, they take a helicopter.
Right.
That's normal. You have 8 police officers. Why wouldn't you have a helicopter?
See, in the video game, it makes sense that there's a helicopter because this is like a full city and a fully staffed police force.
Oh. No, this
and there
is
are
just...
two STARS teams. There's Alpha Team and Bravo Team. Bravo Team helicopter vanishes somewhere, and then Alpha Team is sent to go find them.
No, this is just like 10 guys, and 2 of them are gone, and the other 4 or 5 take a helicopter out there to the mansion that we know from the game. I know the mansion.
Yes. The Spencer Mansion in the Arklay Mountains.
So everyone disperses from the police station, but Claire goes there, and Leon is still there, and that's when the 2 of them sort of hook up, and Ben, her contact, is down in the basement, and Leon watches him get attacked, and then Claire gets downstairs too late. She's like, that's a bummer. That guy was kind of cool.
Yes. And he also gives Leon, when Claire's not in the room, he gives Leon completely useless information about the Tvirus, which is something that we as the audience will probably recognize the name of. But Claire's not there to hear this, and Leon never repeats this information to her, making it completely pointless to the movie itself. It's just so that we can hear Tvirus and be like, oh, that's what this is, even though we already knew that. So...
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think any of the virus stuff is well set up.
No, it's not.
It's not well established. T-virus, G-virus, honestly, they rhyme. They could be the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's not clearly distinctive as to the fact that the T-virus is responsible for what's happening because, like you said, it sounds like it's just like toxins in the water that are turning people into zombies.
Right. It looks like this is an Aaron Brockovich situation.
Right,
not
but with zombies.
Right, not a STARS team situation.
Aaron Zombovich.
So, Claire and Leon...
and Chief Irons are trapped in the police station, and because Chief Irons tries to leave in his car. He ditches them, but then he gets stopped by the barricade.
Apparently, the city has been barricaded everywhere, but the movie is so cheap it does not show that. It just shows us one street corner that has a truck blocking the street.
Oh, it was an underpass. It was a highway underpass.
And
there's a truck with 2 soldiers.
And then someone gets shot, and then the police chief turns in a circle and goes back to the station.
Yep. So he gets back to the police station, almost gets killed by the zombie dogs. Leon shows up. Oh, no.
He does get killed by the zombie dogs, doesn't he?
No, he gets saved by Claire with the fire extinguisher.
Oh, yeah. And then Leon's like,
drop your gun. And you think there's going to be a funny moment where she, looks at the fire extinguisher and goes, does this look like a fucking gun to you? Or something. But no, it's a hero shot. And she's like, I don't have a gun. And throws the fire extinguisher down. And you're like, okay,
It was stupid.
Yes, it was extremely stupid.
The whole thing is dumb.
So now they're trapped in the police station together, and there's 6 zombies outside, so we can't go out there.
Okay, so back at the mansion, everyone has split up, and Jill Valentine and Wesker are off investigating, and Wesker has a Palm Pilot that is a map from the video game, and then he plays a code on the piano.
Yeah.
And a secret door opens and a tunnel opens, and then the helicopter crashes into that room.
Well, Brad, the helicopter pilot, landed somewhere nearby, and he gets attacked by zombies and tries to take off and then dies while he's flying, I guess, and crashes
into the mansion. And then Wesker's like, Jill, you saved me, because she was like, back up, something's gonna crash into us. And he's like, I'm going to go down this hallway. I'm going to betray all of you.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're betraying me? Why? And he's like, well, it's for a small amount of money, and I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So
we missed a part. He got his beeper got a message saying the time is now. Go check your locker, and that's where he finds the Palm Pilot with all the information on it.
Who put it there?
Whoever he's working for.
Who?
Well, in the post credits they reveal that.
Ada Wong.
Yeah, he's working for someone mysterious who wants evidence of what Umbrella's doing, and they paid Wesker and gave him a bunch of resources to find the lab under the mansion so that he could bring them the information they wanted. That's what he's doing, and somehow that equates to him betraying the rest of the team, which I don't know why that's really a betrayal.
I don't know why either, but he's like, you can come with me, Jill. And Jill's like, no, I'm going to go save Chris.
And that other guy.
Because Chris definitely needs saving. And then in another part of the mansion, the other guy is dead. And Chris has the only cool fight sequence where he gets overwhelmed by zombies in a very dark room. And the scene is lit between muzzle flashes and a small lighter. And you see some stabs and some shots. And it's a pretty cool sequence, actually.
Yeah, it's the only time something cool happens with a character in the movie. But it's also stupid, too, because they do that thing where the zombie only makes noise while the lighter is ignited.
That was only the second part of it. In the first part, the zombie was, like, making noise the whole time. It wasn't, like, set up in suspense.
Yeah.
It was so...
It's bad editing.
Yeah. It was just bad, a bad idea.
Yeah.
So Claire and Leon...
And the chief.
Are
like, all right, we got to get out of this police station.
Let's go to an orphanage.
He says, let's go to the loading dock.
Oh.
And then they just leave.
And they just walk out back.
Yep, that's it.
Then they go to the orphanage.
Yep.
And
the reason I'm saying there's like, oh, we got to find a way out of the police station, and then they just leave, is because almost the entirety of the second Resident Evil game takes place in the police station.
Yes.
It's like a whole thing. There's like puzzles to solve. You're kind of trapped in there. You're trying to find a way out, and then you get pushed deeper and deeper as
did you
zombies
try the
come in.
loading dock, though?
You know, I didn't. I'm the idiot, I guess. I should have checked the loading dock.
Yeah, you can just go.
You can just leave.
Just walk out the back. There's no zombies out there.
Yeah, no. Why would there be? It's not like the whole city is infected with Tvirus.
There's only 12 people in the city.
Right.
No problem.
So.
Okay, so they go to the orphanage, and Claire's like, oh no, my memories.
They're coming to get me.
So a flashback ensues, and Claire is being hauled away to the basement, and they're like, we're gonna give you to a family, and we'll come get your stuff later, and also your brother. And she's like, I'm not an idiot, I'm like 13. And she runs away.
She bites a guy and runs away.
Yes.
And we know she bites somebody because we don't see her bite someone, but the guy says, she bit me.
Off screen.
That's one of the major problems with the movie, is that we constantly have characters telling us what's happening because the movie is shot so poorly that we have no idea what's happening most of the time. And it doesn't really matter, but they want us to know this for some reason.
And also it's incredibly boring.
Right. Claire could have just like punched him and run away, or literally just yanked out of his grip and run away. But for some reason, the movie needed to tell us that Claire bit him and he ran away.
Yes. But for some reason, the movie needed to tell us that Claire bit him before she ran away.
Right.
And she got away.
Yeah.
He was too afraid to go after her because she might bite him again like a shark.
Right. Yeah.
Just like Jaws.
Yeah. And then that means they can't take her to the basement anymore for some reason.
She gets away and gets out of town and then learns about guns.
Is that the implication, that she ran away at age 13?
Yeah, they literally say she ran away.
But like, Chris has seen her since then.
Well, I mean, you don't disappear forever. She comes by and asks for money and then leaves again.
Yeah, I guess. It's pretty stupid.
Yeah, well, she needs some money to keep her curly hair in that wet look gel of the 90s. Crunchy curls. So in the orphanage, this monster girl that tried to be friends with Claire when she was little is still there.
Lisa Trevor.
Lisa Trevor is a monster girl. And then when the licker attacks them in the hallway...
And kills Chief Irons.
And kills Chief Irons by licking him.
No, it grabs him with the tongue and then it bites him and claws him.
Well, when he was down on the ground, he looked like he'd been slashed up, but he also looked like he'd been licked a lot. And it's called a licker, so I'm just going to say he was licked to death. That's my understanding of the situation. And the licker comes after Claire and Leon, but her monster friend, Lisa Trevor, whose hands are bound together with some weird board.
It's a really... Okay, so Lisa Trevor was a creation that they did for...
Oh, she's from the game?
She's from the Resident Evil remake, the original game remake on the GameCube. They added this character, Lisa Trevor, who was a really early test subject for the Tvirus, and she managed to escape early on. And
her design is pretty cool.
Yeah, she escaped from them and has been wandering the grounds of the Spencer Mansion. Basically, she's like Roach from People Under the Stairs.
Kara leaned over and was like, it's just like that guy from People Under the Stairs, Roach.
Yeah.
And I was like, exactly.
That's exactly what she is. She's been running around the grounds of the mansion, killing people, and like she wants to make a normal looking face for herself because she's all monsterfied from being experimented on.
Yeah, she still looks pretty scary.
Yeah, and so that's her thing. Like, you run into her a bunch of times. Most of the time you run away from her because you don't have very many bullets, and she's creepy as hell.
Can I just take a moment to note that everyone in the movie has unlimited ammo?
Yes. Chief Irons pulls out a revolver and fires like 8 or 9 shots.
No, it was 6 shots. I counted.
You said it was...
No, well,
You said it was a 7-shooter.
He fired 6 shots, but then the dog was still going to attack him, and I wanted to know if he had one more bullet left for the dog.
Oh,
and so
okay.
that's why I leaned over and said, is it a 7-shooter?
Okay, I wasn't counting how many shots, because I had already given up on the movie by that point. So I thought you had counted and he had fired 7 shots
No,
already.
he fired 6 shots, and I was like, he must know he has 1 bullet left, because he's got a 7-shooter.
Yeah.
He forgot to load that extra bullet. That's not a thing, right? They don't have 7-shooters.
They do, actually. Some revolvers have 5 shots, some have 6, and there's some revolvers that have 8 shots, actually. So it's technically possible, but the model gun that he was using is absolutely a 6-shooter revolver, so...
Well, that's how many shots he fired.
How many? You know what? That's one thing the movie did correctly. It did absolutely understand how many bullets that gun held. So...
But everyone else had unlimited ammo the whole time.
Yeah.
Which I don't know a lot about the video game, but I do know that conserving ammo is a part of it.
It's a huge part of it.
It seems important.
It's like one of the main things of the video games is that you're constantly low on ammo unless you know where all the ammo is in the game and you go get it real fast.
You have to run past zombies to get there.
Yeah, like that's the whole thing. Like that's why when Chris finally pulls out his knife in that one scene where he's fighting the zombies in the dark, I'm like, yeah, okay, there's the knife. That's like supposed to be the whole thing. Like you got really low ammo, so you're using your knife most of the time, or you're just running past zombies.
Yeah, everybody had unlimited ammo, lots of shooting all the time.
And yet no one could hit anything, or it didn't matter, because like people are just firing machine guns and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It was very loud.
It was extremely loud, and
Okay, so in the orphanage, Lisa Trevor, the monster girl, kills the licker, and then she gives Claire a bunch of keys, and I'm like, oh, it's the keys from the game.
Yeah.
But I thought you only get them one at a time.
You do only get them one at a time.
Well, she got a whole ring of keys.
Yeah.
It looked like 5 of them, and then she only needed to use one of them.
And she knew exactly which one to use.
Yeah, and she put it in the secret wall. I mean, the wall is not a secret, but there's...
The secret door in the wall.
Yeah. And then locked it, and then the wall opens, and then she takes an elevator down to the Umbrella Corporation.
The lab.
The lab.
And Lisa does not come with them.
No, she's out of the movie now.
Yep.
I guess she's dead.
She is dead, because the whole city gets destroyed.
Maybe
Spoilers.
she escaped also.
Maybe.
Maybe she's sinkhole proof.
Maybe.
I don't know how the town was destroyed. There was no bomb.
There was a shockwave, so it's implied that there was a bomb, but they don't ever show it exploding. So.
It just looks like a sinkhole. Have you ever seen a sinkhole?
Yes, I've seen a sinkhole, but remember that cow got blown away?
Aww. Yeah.
Anyway, we're skipping ahead. It doesn't really matter. None of this matters.
Nothing else interesting happens. I'm just going to skip to the end.
They meet up in the lab below. Claire shoots Birkin a bunch of times while he's... Wesker runs into the Birkin family who are trying to clear out of Raccoon City, and William's like, I gotta get my G-Virus. And we're like, oh, there's a G-Virus too, I guess. So he's trying to get the G-Virus. Wesker shows up.
I love how the bottles are labeled G-Virus.
Yeah.
It looks like a 5-hour energy.
Yeah.
This G-Virus.
So Wesker shows up and he's like, all right, give me the G-Virus. I've been told I have to get it from you. And he's like, okay. And then he pulls a gun on him. Wesker shoots him. And then
I thought he shot Wesker first.
They shot each other.
Yes.
So he pulls a gun on Wesker, shoots him. Wesker shoots him back a bunch of times. He's dying. Annette grabs the gun. And and Wesker shoots her too. And then the kid runs away. But then she comes back and points a gun at him.
Pulls a gun on Wesker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shoot her. And the movie did not listen to me.
No. And then Jill shoots Wesker.
Yeah.
But then she seems real upset about it. Like it was an accident.
Maybe. But I thought she was a good shot.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just sorry about her decision to shoot him.
I don't know.
I don't know that it was an accident. It's unclear.
Yeah, no one's motivations are clear.
And then Damien Dark gets shot a bunch of times. What's his name?
William Birkin. So they reveal that he had injected himself with the G-Virus right before, or maybe right after he got shot.
It's not clear.
So then he starts transforming, and there's a hide-and-go-seek scene between him and Chris where they, quote-unquote, resolve their father-son dynamic, where he's mocking Chris for believing him.
It's very mean.
It is very mean. I don't know why William Birkin is evil all of a sudden. I guess the G-Virus makes you evil.
It makes you a dick.
Well, I guess he was evil anyway because he was experimenting on children, but you know what I mean.
The G-Virus made him grow eyeballs in his shoulder.
Yeah. Do you know that wasn't a thing in the game? Like, in the game, he has a giant eyeball on his shoulder, but that's because his body, like, changes shape and parts of him move. Like, that's why there's an eyeball on his shoulder. He only still has 2 eyeballs.
He has like 5 eyeballs in this. I'm not sure what the difference between T-Virus and G-Virus is in the context of the movie. So I remember it this way. G stands for gross, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
From the G-Virus.
Yeah. The T-Virus was the one that came before the G-Virus. The G-Virus was supposed to be a perfected version of the T-Virus.
I know that from watching 7 other films, not from this movie.
Well, you wouldn't know that because the G-Virus wasn't in the movies, so...
The other movies?
No, it wasn't. The G-Virus was not in those movies.
Isn't that what made Nemesis?
Nope.
What made Nemesis?
The T-Virus.
Oh.
Everything was the T-Virus.
Please don't make me watch them again.
I'm not.
Okay, so then they're like, we're going to get on this train to get out of here. And then they make it to the train, and then they get out. And thankfully, Leon Kennedy is like, I am also a train conductor. And he turns the train on and drives it.
Yep. And then the mansion implodes and collapses into a sinkhole, and they get thrown off the track, and then William catches up to them in his big monster form, and no one can kill him, and then Leon shoots him with a rocket launcher that he found somewhere.
In the cab of the train.
Yeah, he just found it laying around.
They said, where did you get that? And he was like, just found it.
Found it in first class.
So, that is the movie. Everybody gets out of town. They're alive. And they have a small child with them now. And she saw them murder her parents. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with her, but I don't
She's totally cool with that, apparently, because her dad turned into a monster.
I mean, but still, they did murder her parents in front of her.
No, Wesker did. Remember?
Yeah, I know.
They shot him, so they're the good guys.
Well, I guess. And then there's a post-credit scene where Wesker puts on some sunglasses.
He wakes up. He's alive now, somehow.
Where Wesker wakes up and he's alive and he puts on some sunglasses. And then Ada Wong is like, what's up, Wesker? And he's like, my eyes. And then she's like, get ready for the sequel, bitch.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen.
And that's the end. Now say something nice about the movie.
No. I refuse.
Give it one compliment.
I already did. It's the scene in the dining room where Chris fights the zombies in the dark. That was pretty...
That's what I complimented. Find your own compliment.
Jill says at one point, she makes a reference to a Jill sandwich.
Oh.
That's my compliment for the movie.
Are you also going to compliment Itchy Tasty? You don't have to explain it.
No, I don't want to compliment Itchy Tasty because it doesn't do anything. It has nothing to do with anything in the movie.
All right.
Because Itchy Tasty is a very infamous thing in the game that people who are fans of the series know because it's really cool and it's kind of funny, but like, you know, in the context of the game, it's really effective and spooky and unsettling. And they just put it in the movie because they wanted to make a reference to the game, and it worked. They did. It worked on me. It tricked me into thinking that they gave a shit.
I'm sorry. Well, somebody cared, but not the people who are writing the script or directing the feature film.
I don't believe anybody cared. I really am not willing to accept that. This is my conspiracy theory. Look, I'm Claire now, everybody. I have a conspiracy theory. My conspiracy theory is that Netflix announced that they were doing their Netflix show of Resident Evil, and then Sony panicked because their Resident Evil movie franchise was over, and then they threw together a really cheap movie really fast in order to release it, in order to hold on to their movie rights, and also drive down the value of the brand, because they made this movie, and it's terrible, and they subtitled it Welcome to Raccoon City, and the first episode of the new Netflix show is called Welcome to Raccoon City also, and the Netflix show also deserves to tank, because everything I've heard about it sounds like it's going to be god-awful, and basically we're just not allowed to have nice things with Resident Evil.
I'm so sorry. You have some nice games.
Yes,
that's nice.
The video games seem to be going really good again.
I would like to say more complaints about the movie.
Yes.
Which is, it feels like there are so many scenes where there's only 1 or 2 people in frame, and it feels like so many scenes were filmed with like a skeleton crew. It just feels like I mean, I guess so, yeah. It just feels like a very small movie with hardly any stunts, not a lot of action, just very boring exposition. And if I didn't have all the outside knowledge that I went in with, I don't think I would have really gotten much out of it. The only reason we stayed, I guess we had a good time watching it, is because we made a lot of jokes about it. And we kind of like were laughing in the theater and riffing on the movie as it was happening. And so that was fun. But the music was bad. Everything was bad.
Yeah. I saw you about to start listing it on your fingers, and you're like, nah, just everything.
Yeah.
It was a struggle to come up with one positive thing to say for each of us, and that should be the easier things, like, oh, what wasn't bad? But everything's bad.
Yeah, everything was pretty bad. Even the acting wasn't very good.
No, and that's a shame, too, because they had a couple of really good actors in this thing.
Yeah. Well, Luther did a good job.
Yeah, and
as Wesker.
That lady who played the ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp, I like her. I think she's talented.
Yeah, I like her too.
Yeah, and the two of them did the best job in the movie.
Yeah.
Donald Logue, I don't know if you could call what he did a good performance, but it sure was animated.
He was just saying a lot of really random stuff, and it feels like a lot of it was improvised.
Yeah.
But he is charming and funny, and
you don't like Leon. Tell him that. Action. Chief, you wanted to see everybody in the squad room? Well, not you, Leon! Get out of here, Leon! Fuck you, Leon!
Yeah, he's pretty mean to Leon.
Yeah.
For no visible reason?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, he seems like he's kind of mean in general. Okay, so, do you have anything else you want to say about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City?
It was extremely disappointing because it felt like we were being given a second chance, because that other Resident Evil movie series was so poorly done and it just missed the point completely, and it seemed like we were going to get a second chance, and we got nothing. I don't know, maybe most other people weren't fooled. I was an idiot and I hoped, and I'll never do that again.
I'm sorry.
The video games are cool. Go play them. That's all I gotta say about it, I guess.
I don't have anything else. I said everything I wanted to say. Do not recommend.
Yeah, no, I don't recommend it either. Don't bother going to see it. The acting is bad. The dialogue's bad. The monsters look terrible.
Yeah.
There's, like, maybe 2 good shots in the whole movie. When they were, like, building up to the liquor showing up, where it was just the lights moving.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
What's going on? Yeah, I was like, okay, that's good.
End of list.
That's really it. Yeah, the only other thing was that one sequence with Chris in the dining room where it was lit by like muzzle flashes.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, thanks for talking with me about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
You're welcome.
Have a good
Raccoon City.
Have a good night. Thanks for listening. That's the episode. I hope you have a really great week, and I'll talk to you soon.